Monday. It's that Cowboys playoff game. So wear your Cowboys gear on Monday, right? Hey, too many haters. Too many haters in this life, you know? Don't hate me because you ain't a Cowboys fan, all right? I don't care what you are. But Monday, we're all Cowboys fans. So we can all get free hundreds, right? Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, so that was a joke, a laugh, a sheesh. All right, let's do this. Number one, if I'm solving for this, if you remember the notes, what is first step? F of x turns into what letter? It's really a y. Write this down. Y equals 3 minus x plus 7. This is the most important step. What do I have to do with x and y? She knows. Everyone else? Switch x and y. This is the most important step. So if you weren't here yesterday, you're going to learn this real quick. You have to switch x and y. So this y becomes an x. This x becomes a y. I tweaked the warm-up a little bit. Change the numbers a little bit. All right. So next step. I need to solve for y. So if I'm solving for y, what should I get rid of first over here? The loner is, this is a positive 3. Does everyone see the minus is after it? So this is just a regular positive 3. How do I get rid of a regular positive 3? Minus 3, minus 3. 3's cancel out. Is everyone looking up here? Now look at your phone. Batman, don't look at your phone. But can you write it down? Can you hear me now? What am I saying? All right, so x minus 3 equals, now, please be careful. What is in front of that square root sign? That minus goes with it, or that negative y plus 7. Okay. Now here's the deal. There's 3 things we got to get rid of. We have a square root, we have a 7, but the first thing, before I can get to the square root of the 7, that negative has to go. What number is implied after that negative? This is really a negative 1 in front, okay? I'm showing you this because on number 2 of your assignment today, you're going to have a negative randomly there. Here's how you get rid of a negative. You must divide by negative 1. Okay? I know that's like an annoying extra step, but it's there on your assignment number 2, so I'm showing you. Okay? Now, next step, how do I get rid of the square root? What's the opposite of square root? Square. So I'm going to square this. Yes, that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to square this. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this. So I got x minus 3 over negative 1 squared equals y plus 7. Okay, last step. How do I get rid of that plus 7? Minus 7, minus 7, after that whole big ugly thing, okay? And we'll cut to the final step. The final step is you have to write it as an inverse, f little negative 1 of x. So here's how we write it. F inverse of x equals x minus 3 over negative 1 squared minus 7. Too many alarms. Now, I know that's annoying, okay, to do all those steps, but do you see that this original one, that's a square root, and this new one, which is a square, those are inverses. If you graph them on the graph, it's going to look like this, like symmetrical across the diagonal line, just like the examples yesterday, okay? Let's do one more example, number 2. This time we're going to start with the squared and end up with the square root, okay? What should I get rid of? Sorry, before I even do any solving, f of x is really what letter? Y equals 2x minus 2 squared. What do I do with x and y? Very important. Switcheroo. So x equals 2 y minus 2 squared. That's a lot of 2's there. Which 2 must I get rid of first? Like the one in front, the one inside, or the squared? Okay, so the coefficient, positive 2 out front, yes, okay, before you can get into the parentheses, before you can even mess with the square root, you must get rid of the coefficient. How do I get rid of that 2 in front? This is being multiplied, so the opposite is divide by 2. Divide by 2. Okay, so now I have x over 2 equals y minus 2 squared. What's the opposite of squared? Square, square root. Square root, square. Those are always opposites, right? So square root of this, square root of this. And how do I get rid of that last minus 2? Plus 2 here, plus 2 here goes after the square root sign. And I'll tell you, sometimes you're going to see it put in front of the square root sign. Okay, so like your quiz on Friday, okay, we moved it to Friday, give you an extra day. Gave you an extra day, right? Wait, thank you, slow clap, thank you. You might see the constant moved in front. Okay, so I'll just do it on this one. We're going to put our final answer as f inverse x 2 plus x over 2. So the 2 can either go in front of the square root sign, it can go after the square root sign, it just cannot be underneath the square root sign. That's the only thing, okay? So yesterday's warm-up was like part of this, just the solving part. This time you're doing it from function to inverse, okay? If you look at yesterday's notes, we did 2 examples for sure of function to inverse. And then I think we worked backwards. And then we did like restricted domains. We did a lot yesterday. I know it was a lot, okay? I also showed you number 1 on your notes. So if you, number 1 on your assignment. So if you pull out 6.3 from yesterday, you're going to start on number 2 because we did number 1 together. Now, if you weren't here, or if you want to see number 1, I'm going to put it on the board right now. Just making sure everyone's got the warm-up. So, number 1 from yesterday looked like this. So this is what I expect you to do on this assignment. Ready? Take the original function. Is everyone looking? Who wasn't here yesterday? So graph this in your calculator. Hit Control T. Plot the points. Okay. Then you're going to do what we did on the warm-up. Find the inverse. But then I need you to graph the inverse. Now there's 2 ways to do this. Okay. You can graph the inverse and hit Control T and plot the new points. Or, y'all like shortcuts? Okay. Check this out. See how this point is 3, 2? This point's going to be 2, 3. You just switch the order. Okay. What's this point? 4, 3. Switch the order. 3, 4. Okay. 7, 4. 4, 7. If you take the first table, you can just flip it around, get the new table. Those are inverse functions. That might be easier to do than have to, I don't know. That might be an easy way to graph the second graph, okay? Or you can put this in the calculator and hit Control T and graph the new graph, okay? But either way, does everyone understand how to get a graph, how to do this, and then how to get a new graph, inverse graph? Look at your notes, look at this warm-up, look at this on the board. You can use all that. And you want to get through this. Okay, now, because I'm extending the quiz to Friday, I'm giving you today, because some of us need to finish 6.1 and 6.2 still. But, that's okay. I want you to get to 6.3, okay, but I do not want you to waste time. There's too much to do. Some of us are creating a snowball in Texas. But it's not a snowball of snow, it's a snowball of work. And it gets heavy, and it crushes you, and you become a snowman. And remember, Frosty the Snowman could only have fun for so long before he melted away. And he was just a hat. He was forgotten. And that allegory doesn't need to be your story. I want you to pass my class. Okay, let's do this.